Good evening and welcome into the Boulevard Brewing Company post-game drink. I am Gabe DeArmond. After a 24-23 overtime win for Missouri over the Florida Gators, the only thing we can promise you is that we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep doing the show tonight. That is basically what Missouri did today. Look, it wasn't pretty. There were a lot of times that I know you guys were pulling your hair out, that you wanted the quarterback pulled, that you wanted the coach fired, that you didn't understand the play calls, all of that. I get it. But games are 60 minutes and sometimes 60 minutes plus a couple of series for a reason. And that reason was I wish that I had the Dumb and Dumber clip of, just when I think you can't do anything stupider, you go and totally redeem yourself, because that was Connor Bazelak and Eli Drinkwitz tonight. Because in the end, the first 60 minutes and however many plays don't really matter. I mean, they won the game. And so any manner of how they got there, and I'm sure we're going to break down a lot of things, and I think a lot of it's going to be negative. And I kind of get it, but they won the game, and they're 6-5, and they're going to finish fourth in the East, which isn't great, but it isn't bad. They have salvaged what can be salvaged from this season, and that is, look, it can get a whole lot better, actually, with a win on Friday, and we'll talk about that. But even if they don't beat Arkansas on Friday, they have salvaged a bowl game and at least a 500 record. I think this is the first time since the season opener that Eli Drinkwitz has been over 500 at Missouri. I could be wrong on that. No, the SEMO game, he would have been 7-6. But I understand that Connor Bazelak is a flawed quarterback and that a lot of guys want to see, a lot of people want to see somebody else in there. And I understand all the complaints about this game. But Missouri won a game that Missouri almost never wins, if we're being honest, right? And they did so, honestly, on a play I never would have run. I tweeted at 23-22 after the Beatty touchdown, I tweeted that I would have kicked the extra point because the defense had been good enough that I thought maybe you could start holding them to field goals and you could get by that way. I would have kicked, and I'd have played a second overtime. But Eli Drinkwitz didn't. He went for it, and he deserves a ton of credit for it, right? Whatever. And I had plenty of issues with the first 3 quarters of that game and some of the play calling and the decisions, especially at quarterback. I was with you guys. I agreed with you. But he gets paid $4 million to win games, and he won a game. In a way that I don't think any of us would have predicted. Even when they came out and Bazelak was under center, I said, what are they doing? Like, they're doing something that they never do here on the most important play they've got. What's going on? And I liked not going to Beatty because you knew Florida was thinking you were going to go to Beatty. Now, that takes even more balls than it takes to go for it. It takes to go for it and not give the ball to Tyler Beatty. And the reason is real simple, because if they don't make that and they lose 23-22, the very first question, and probably like the second, third, fourth, and fifth questions are, I don't get it. Why didn't your best player touch the ball on the biggest play of the season? But they used him right. The call was right. They deserve absolutely a world of credit. I had given up on them for the season. I think most of you guys had given up on them for the season. I remember a lot of, this team can't win more than 3 games. And I never thought that, but a lot of people did. And maybe it was an emotional reaction and you were angry, in the heat of the moment when you said that. But whatever, there were a lot of people that quit on this team. Flat out, a lot of people that quit on this team. And that's okay. Like, I'm not asking you to call in and tell me you were one of them. But they deserve credit for bringing this back to this point when that many people had quit on them. And I wouldn't blame Connor Bazelak if he came out and, had some choice words and such. Now he won't, I don't think. That's not who he is, but I wouldn't blame him. Let's take a quick look at the numbers. Here's one thing you got to remember about this 360 yards for Florida. I was thinking, I'm going to guess about 50 of those came on that play at the end of the first half when all Missouri was doing was attempting not to give up a 70-yard touchdown or 60-yard touchdown. So if you take those 50-ish yards away, they're at about 310 total offense. It's by far the best defensive game Missouri has played this year against a grown-up team, right? I mean, they maybe were better last week against South Carolina, but Florida's a much better offensive team. They certainly were better against – well, no, they weren't better against North Texas or SEMO. This is the best defensive game Missouri has played, and it's not close. And there were a lot of guys. I mean, true freshman DJ Jackson, talk about him. Chad Bailey, 9 tackles, 3 for a loss. Blaze Aldridge, you want to talk about a guy that's come back from the dead, Blaze Aldridge. Jatorian Hansford made a huge play in the fourth quarter. Just all around, really a great defensive effort out of Missouri. Here you can see a little deeper numbers. I mean, again, the Gators throw for 261 yards. Emory Jones, 20 of 32 for 261. But how many of those 50 to 60 are on one play at the end of the first half? Outside of that, pretty darn good defense by Missouri outside maybe one play. Tyler Beatty, 27 carries, 146. I mean, the guy he's the most valuable player in the country. He just keeps doing it. He is, if I can do math in my head, he's now got 1385 for the season. He's a little under 200 yards away from Devin West's school record. He would obviously have to have a huge day against Arkansas, but hey, man, I wouldn't put it past the kid. He's had huge days week after week after week after week. So, again, ton of credit to Missouri. They came through when I think probably most people on here thought that they were not going to come through. And, look, we can pick this apart. I'm sure we will. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, but they didn't do this well and they didn't do that well. And I'll listen to that and I'll have that conversation and I'll discuss it. But I'm going to tell you, ultimately, this is a flawed team. They're not perfect. There's a reason they're not 10-1 playing for an SEC title. It's a flawed team that found a way to win a game. And they deserve a lot of credit. By the way, it's a better team than it was 6 weeks ago, especially on defense. They overcame their second-best player not coming through at the end of that game. Harrison Mevis missed the kick. I think it was a bad snap. But he still normally makes that. They overcame that. Look, I could go on and on. It's always better just to take the phone calls and see what you guys want to talk about. So before I open up the phone lines, I want to tell you guys, I want to ask you, okay, I imagine that the phone lines are going to be pretty busy here. After a game like that, they usually are. So you're going to have to wait. Sometimes you might call in and I might not be able to add you to the line. If I can add you to the line, I will, but you're going to have to hold on. I'll call out your area code. When I do, go ahead. If it's a common area code, I may have to call out a little more of your number. But point is, you're going to have to wait. So please, whatever device you're listening on, put on mute. When you call in, just be quiet. Don't start yapping in the background and all that. And all right, we've got somebody who knows the phone number before I even put it on the screen. So we're gonna go to the 301 area code. Who am I talking to?
Oh wow, that was fast. It's Jacob out here in Washington D.C. How's it going?
Not bad. What's up, Jacob?
So you were saying Missouri deserves a lot of credit. I want to make sure you get some credit too, because 3 weeks ago there were a lot of folks, including myself, responded on this line. And you said, look, this season's not over. There's not a game against South Carolina that's winnable, and that game against Florida is looking more and more winnable. This could be a bowl team. Maybe not a good bowl team, but a bowl
right.
team. And here we are. So, credit where credit's due. It was a good call on your part, and thanks for keeping us interested.
Yeah, let's be clear. I didn't think they'd get there. I just knew it was mathematically possible.
Oh, I know you didn't. I know you didn't, but I think you gave us an accurate realm of possibility, and they overperformed this week, I think, and here they are winning the game. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions about play calling, so let me be the first. There were a lot of times where you felt like you've got to get number one going, and you know, you're not head the right way. Then you look at the play calling down the stretch, and you've got left, it's not zone read, excuse me, outside zone to the left, outside zone to the left, which is their bread and butter, and a really creative 2-point conversion play where they ran that play action, dump it off into flat to Beatty, where Bazelak just kind of spins and tries to unload it real fast. And they run it this time with a little wrinkle and shoot Daniel Parker out the other side. So can you give me a grade on what you saw from Elijah Drinkwitz in terms of his play calling in the bread and butter stuff, but also in those crucial moments? And then finally, and I'll shut up after this, Steve Wilkes, oh my God, folks have been roasting him over the coals. It's a different defense than it was even 3 weeks ago, and he deserves some credit for that. So I'd love to get your thoughts, Gabe.
Yeah, no question. Wilkes deserves a ton of credit. I think Jatorian Hansford and, Trajan Jeffcoat and Isaiah McGuire probably deserve a lot of the credit too, as does Blaze Aldridge, as does Chad Bailey. Like, ultimately, it's about players, as does DJ Jackson for today. But Wilkes, no doubt. Look, I was with you for the first 3 quarters of that game. I said, Drinkwitz has to do something to give his guys a chance. Like, you can't just throw 2-yard passes and hand the ball to Tyler Beatty and think this is going to work. But he got the play to Nico Hay. He leaned on his guy. Ultimately, he won the game. Like, the reason I'm not usually a big play calling guy is because I think we don't know enough about what's going on to what it's supposed to do and what worked and what didn't work to complain too much about play calls. Ultimately, like, just call the touchdown play, right? They're all supposed to work. It's just that sometimes they don't. Sometimes somebody doesn't do something. I was ready to roast Drinkwitz for about 3 quarters of that game. But then the first 3 quarters don't matter when they did what they did, which is, score a touchdown to take the lead in the fourth and then score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in overtime to win it. I would not have gone for 2. He did, and he deserves a ton of credit for it. No doubt in the world. So, Jacob, I appreciate the call there, man. Let's go next to, let me see. Let's go to the 561 area code. Who is there?
This is
561. Sorry, who is this?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
This is Jeff.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man?
All right, good. So I'm sitting here in the good. Thank you. I'm sitting here in the beautiful state of Florida, as a Mizzou grad, of course. Enjoyed it thoroughly, and I was one of your last callers last week, and my point was, I think Drinkwitz is the right sick. Even if this year is terrible, he's still the right guy. Like you, though, I was pulling my hair out, what little I had left, wondering why we don't have Brady Cook to run up the middle for 5, 10, 15 yards as they're killing Beatty on every single, running play.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a no-brainer, that you could get the 3rd and 5 with the quarterback dropping back and then just running when they're covering everybody man-to-man. And, we're pulling out our hair. So I find myself conflicted in, A, thinking, yeah, we got the right coach. All the credit to all the fellas today.
All right, Jeff, I appreciate the call, man. Your line is real choppy, so I'm going to go ahead and answer. I appreciate your call, and thanks for being a part of the show. I'm going to take you off the line because your line is choppy, but I hope you're listening. Basically, look, I agree that Cook probably should have played, right? But But here's the bottom line, and you guys aren't going to like this answer, but there just is no other answer. At whatever percentage he is, Eli Drinkwitz thinks Connor Bazelak is the best quarterback on his roster and is going to give Missouri a better chance to win games. Now, he could be wrong. Maybe Tyler Macon or Brady Cook is better. But Drinkwitz thinks this is my best guy, even at 80%, even not being able to run the football, even being a statue, he's my best guy. And he's the coach, and he gets paid $4 million, and he's going to live or die by that decision. And today he lived by it. Now, I understand everybody's going to say, but Bazelak didn't have anything to do with it, which is not obviously exactly true. But bottom line, that's the answer. We can throw around a million hypotheticals, but the only thing that really matters is Eli Drinkwitz thinks in his current state, Connor Bazelak is the best quarterback he has on the roster, and that's why he's playing. It's no more complicated than that. There's nothing else to it. He thinks Connor Bazelak, in his current state, playing the way he is, gives him a better chance to win football games than Brady Cook or Tyler Macon does. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he'll feel that way next spring or next fall or whatever, but he feels that way now, and I know it's not the answer people want, but it is the flat-out truth. Let's move on now to the 832 area code. Who's there?
Hey, this is Ryan.
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
All right. Hey, I tell you what, all was going well until the coin toss, and Florida said the north end zone, and my son from OU called up actually and said, the chance of us seeing a once-in-a-decade play just significantly increased, but the chance this works out for Missouri significantly decreased. So good that it paid off for Missouri, that it actually worked out. The curse of the north end zone, I think we can say, is dead. Not going to harp on all the other stuff. Been watching too much Mizzou football for too many years to look at the bad stuff when they win a game like this. So it's a great win.
Yeah.
Glad they did it. Glad it keeps the momentum going here in the second half of the season to hopefully carry off in the off season.
You know what, Ron? That's a really good point. I hadn't even thought that they were playing in the north end zone. I don't know. It just didn't occur to me. But that's a good point. Yeah.
Yep. All good. Appreciate it, Gabe. Thank you.
All right, Ryan. Appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot. Let's go next to the 816 area code. Who's there?
This is your father.
Okay. This is what's up, father?
I can't believe you took this call, but your mother and I were watching the game, and it's unbelievable. And I thought Drinkwitz was crazy to go for two, but he won this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for two. I tweeted I wouldn't go for two. I'd have kicked it. But
yeah,
I wish I made $4 million to make that call.
Don't you?
Almost. I'm bringing in a lot of YouTube money. We're at like 3.7 now.
Oh, well, excellent. But no, I mean, this is amazing. I mean, it gives Drinkwitz, another 2-3 years?
I mean, yeah, he's not going to get fired till at least 2025 now, probably. Yeah. So
yeah, there you go.
He's in good shape. We all get to watch the Birmingham Bowl.
Oh, boy. Are you going to cover it?
Oh, God, no. Mitchell might. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Good deal.
We'll talk to you. Bye. All right. I thought that was a joke at first. I didn't really think that was my father, but it was. Let's go 618 area code. What's up?
Hey, Gabe. This is Keith.
What's up, Keith? How you doing, man?
I call you every week and tell you this is the best part of my post-game, driving back to the game, is listening to you. And I'll tell your dad, too. Hey, Gabe's father. Gabe does a great job. We're glad that he's out there doing this. Real quick, I've been a Mizzou fan forever, since forever. So I go to these games a lot, and I've sat through. I really was at the fifth down game, and I was there 2 years later when Bill Johnson threw that stupid pick against Colorado in the return.
Yep.
The first nighttime game at Columbia.
6-0 in 1991.
And I was there for the kick six, and I was there for the Kentucky game a couple of years ago. And I will tell you that this never happens to Mizzou. This is the coolest thing. And I just wanted to say, M-I-Z. That's it.
You know what, Keith? We all think it never does, right? But if you think back, I mean, the TJ Moe play happened. You know, I know we're talking basketball, but like Clarence Gilbert won an NCAA tournament game on a buzzer beater. Like, we remember the ones that don't happen, but actually Missouri has won some games like this, right? I mean, Henry Josie happened. I know there was 3 minutes left, but
when Mevis missed that field goal, it was just that same old Mizzou feeling, that same old, well, we had a shot, here we go again.
Yep.
It's just coming back from that. I don't know. I'm in a great mood today. I appreciate it. Now I love Coach Drinkwitz and Coach Wilkes, so I'll be a hypocrite. What the heck? I love your show, and thanks for doing it.
Perfect, Keith. I appreciate it, man. Let's go next to the 314 area code. Who's there? You with me? 314, you there?
Hey, Gabe. Nitro, I guess my question is, there's a lot of people on your board tonight who were in the middle of the game, fire drink.
Yes.
There was a poll. Someone posted a poll, fire drink. Do you think that those people are going to apologize for this? Because, listen, I'm really, really happy. And I just want you to know I am very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they should apologize. Thanks, Gabe.
Nitro, I don't know if you've been on this thing called a message board on the internet. They are not going to apologize. Nor should they, really. I mean, look, this is the emotion of being a fan, right? In the middle of a game, the problem with the internet is it has allowed everyone to know what our mid-game thoughts are, and that's never good. You just shouldn't post till the game's over because it's 60 minutes long and you don't know what's going to happen. But when you post mid-game, you let everybody know what you're thinking, and a lot of times you end up looking kind of dumb, and that's okay, but you shouldn't have to apologize for it. Let's go to the 336 area code. Who's there? 336, you with me? All right, looks like we lost you. We're back in the 314 area code. 314, you still here? All right, sounds like people got tired of waiting. 309, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, Gabe?
Not bad. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Gabe, it's Dalton.
What's up, Dalton?
I remember calling you back in September, and everybody was talking about how this defense playing. We're all full yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that Steve Wilkes deserves. Is he not the most valuable person on the staff outside of probably Beatty? In terms of you were ranking right now, the turnaround in the defense has been phenomenal. The defensive line was playing out of their minds. Trajan Jeffcoat was finally playing like an all-SEC player before he got hurt, and it's just it just shows you that a little patience goes a long ways. And I also just want to bring up one stat that I saw right before they went into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Drink is now 9-0 when leading at halftime. So I know a lot of people want to sit here and go, well, he should have done this, he should have done that. This game reminded me very much of Kentucky last year. Drink kept it in the game, didn't get too crazy, kept it offense extremely conservative because his defense was playing well, and he just let it go. So I gotta say.
Appreciate it, Dalton. Thanks for the call, man. And, I would not – if we say that Beatty is the most valuable guy on the offense, and I think that is certainly fair to say, then I would go on the defense. I would say it's Isaiah McGuire and Chris Abrams-Drain. I mean, those have been the best players on this defense. I would say Chad Bailey, Blaze Aldridge, Trajan Jeffcoat deserve to be mentioned in there. Maybe Darius Robinson. Today, maybe DJ Jackson. But – Wilkes deserves credit for just kind of continuing, but he's not doing anything different. He said this week, it's the same scheme. Our players are doing a better job at it, to be quite honest with you, is what has happened. Everybody deserves credit, no doubt about it. I don't know if we're ranking who deserves the most credit. Steve Wilkes he's done a nice job. I don't think there's any question, and everybody feels a lot differently about him than they did 5 weeks ago. Let's go 336 area code. You there?
Hey, man, Mike.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Good. It's just a good night. The way you want it to, but it never looks as good or as pretty as you want it to, but these are the types of things that Mizzou has never done. And we brought in Drinkwitz. This is what we want him to do. And this is what it's like as a Mizzou fan. There are going to be incremental improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, these hopefully will add up to be something significant. Like, I don't think we'll compete with Kirby anytime soon, but it's one or two plays away. But this is what it takes to get there, and this is what we're here for. I mean, it's our sad history as a Mizzou fan, the ghost that haunt us as a Mizzou fan and the Big 12. All the Big 12 times that have really failed us, but like putting these things to bed, it's a small step at a time, and we made a step tonight.
And I agree, actually, and I'm probably going to write something similar to that later. This is a step along the way that if this works, you're going to look back and say, that was an important step. I totally agree with you, man. Good points, Mike. Appreciate you being a part of it, man. All right, let's go next to the let's go next to the 229 area code. Who's there?
Hey, what's up, Gabe? This is Aaron.
What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man?
What I like to point out is I'm like most Mizzou fans. I was frustrated with Baselak not coming in, but Baselak not getting benched. But I look at it from a perspective as a player. I trust Drinkwitz so much more because he's not willing to, he's not going to hear the noise from the outside and so forth. He's really going to focus on what's happening on the practice field. Obviously, Tyler Cook is not good enough. I mean, and if he was, he'd be playing. And so I like the loyalty that Drinkwitz is showing to his players. That the best players, Sunday through Friday, are going to be the ones who are going to play on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look, Connor Bazelak won the game. Like everybody's argument against Bazelak was we don't have a chance to win with him. He won. I mean, he won the game. So, like, it doesn't matter if it's pretty or not. He won the game. He's going to be the quarterback next week. He's going to be the quarterback in a bowl game. And there's no question about it now, right? Now, what happens in spring, what happens next fall camp, I have no idea. But, yeah. Good points, Aaron. Like, fans react in the moment. Coaches are paid not to, right?
Exactly. And I'm not down on Tyler Macon. I mean, it's hard to make that transition, especially after not playing a year and a half. But right. I think the writing's on the wall for Brady Cook. If he wants to play at Mizzou, I don't know if
it's
there's
not going to be
here
for
him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And I mean, Wilkes. I was down on him, but we can say that he didn't make any changes to the scheme, but obviously the scheme is working. It just took a while for it to, to show its way. But we got to give Wilkes credit. The system's working, and so there's a reason why he's getting paid $1 million for now. I mean, things can change, but I have to come back and say, hey, maybe I was wrong about Wilkes.
Yeah, and we'll see. Until the next time it doesn't work, then we're going to say, man, that guy's terrible. He's got to go, right? Because that's what people do, man. But
exactly.
But you're right.
Our opinions can change.
Yep. Well, Aaron, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's it. So,
all right, have a good night. I got a few of you on the line, and I'm going to get to you. I just want to read you real quick because I'm seeing some things in the comments, and I retweeted video of it from the PowerMizzou.com account. But Mitchell40 tweets, Drinkwitz just ended his post-game press conference by putting on his hood and whipping out a plastic lightsaber and says, "May the Force be with you." Anybody remembers last year, Dan Mullen dressed up as Darth Vader after Florida beat Missouri on Halloween, and Mullen incited a fight.
Love that.
There is, I mean, look, man, like I said, Eli Drinkwitz, like, other coaches ain't going to love this dude. Other fan bases ain't going to love this dude. Missouri fans will, as long as he wins. But that's the kind of thing that you better go be able to back it up when you do it. Let's go 224 area code. Who's there?
Hey, Gabe, this is Adam.
What's up, Adam?
I'm just calling. Super all in on Drink. I thought that last year was year 0. This was really year 1. And this was the kind of win they needed with the with the recruiting they have coming in. You just needed to keep the momentum rolling, and getting this win today was a huge deal. I'm really happy for Connor making that throw to end the game. I was really critical of him all night. I really don't think he's the answer long term, but I mean, great moment for him, and really excited to see what the team looks like next year with hopefully Sam Horn or someone else at quarterback and Luther Burden coming in. But man, what a win. That was awesome.
Yeah. Not much to add, Adam. 100% agree, man. Good call. Appreciate you calling in tonight. All right, let's go to the 972 area code. Who do I have from the 972?
Colonel, this is Jay Mills. How are you?
What's up, Mills? How you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine. Since your pops called in, I figured, it's time for me to make my first.
Yeah, we need to get Nooner and McKernan and all kinds of people on here, huh?
I've been pretty loyal watching the post game, so I had to call in. But I do have one comment, one question. The first comment is, look, since Mizzou hired Coach Drink, I've been kind of calling him, Dabo 2.0, and I sort of kind of see that. I like the incremental, how they've improved from last year to this year a little bit. I was hoping for a little bit of a bigger jump. But the question I have for you is, what's your thoughts on him as a play caller? Because I thought, sort of from a personnel standpoint, he's had to deal with the O-line and the O-line being just kind of decimated, which we really saw that today. Yeah. And that while I thought the play calling today kind of took a step back, I thought the touchdown call and then the call that he made where he, got the play call where they got the offsides on the I can't remember the play call where they tried to go on 4th and 1 was really a genius call by him. But overall, and I'll hang up and listen, just your thoughts on him as a play caller this year.
Yeah, here's why I'm always so hesitant to criticize play calling, because good play callers are doing things off of plays they called 2 quarters ago or 5 weeks ago. They're setting things up all the time, right? And there's a rhythm to it. And my reaction in the first half was, what's he doing? They're all 2-yard passes and handoffs, and either he thinks his quarterback can't do anything else and he's playing the wrong quarterback, or he's calling a terrible game. Well, then he pops Nico Hayfree for a 41-yard touchdown. And then he, it wasn't play calling in overtime. It was 2 handoffs to Tyler Beatty, and his dudes blocked, and Tyler Beatty broke tackles, and it was a touchdown. So I just think we focus too much on play calling. They're all designed to work, right? Every play they call, ideally, is going to work. Now, they don't all work, but sometimes they don't work because a guy falls down. Or sometimes they don't work because the left tackle misses a block. Or sometimes they don't work because a receiver runs the wrong route or the ball slips from the quarterback. It's just too easy to say, well, it was a bad play call. And I really try to avoid doing that, right? All the time in basketball, people want to blame shot selection. And I say, well, sometimes good shots don't go in and terrible shots do go in. It's not about shot selection. It's about shot execution. And that's the answer almost always in football, is they just needed to execute. Steve Wilkes is largely doing the same things he was doing 8 weeks ago, but now Missouri is doing it well. And so I don't mean to dismiss the question, but I think we just focus way too much on play calling, and I don't really think we're qualified to do it, if I'm being quite honest with you. We just don't know. So let's go to the 314 area code now. Number ends in 06. You there with me?
Hey, Gabe, it's Will. How you doing?
What's up, Will? How are you, man?
Hey, so what I just wanted to say is, right now I feel like in a group chat I had with all my friends that kind of the momentum is back, what we were all expecting for, in the beginning of the season, where, we kind of have our mojo back. Drink, as you just said, did the little lightsaber thing with Mullen, and we all like Swaggy Drink doing stuff like that. So I was just wondering if you feel like this is almost because of 2020 being the COVID year last year, that was almost a blank season that really didn't happen. That this is almost year one, and because of the struggles of the defense and everybody getting back, kind of in a mojo. Or I would say if after year 2, if you would ask most Mizzou fans if Drake had a 500 record after year 2, we'd all be happy with that. So I'm just wondering if you think we're back on pace to projection-wise, what we all kind of thought at the end of year 1, 2020. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Will. And yeah, I said at the beginning of this year, 6-6 will leave you a little bit disappointed, but it won't be like it's not a disaster. This team going 6-6 would be okay. That's what was needed. I set the baseline at the beginning at 7-5, which by the way is doable. Do I think they're going to beat Arkansas? No, but I didn't think they were going to beat Florida. So 7-5 is doable, but 6-6. It's exactly what Will said. It keeps you moving forward, right? 6-6 this year, I think, is better than the 5-5 was last year, and so it keeps you moving in that direction. You get this class on campus next year, and yeah, next year is I expect a step forward next year, and I expect it to be a little bit bigger step. And then 2023 is the year I expect to see. Okay, this is when we need to see 8, 9, 10. And I think that's the time frame for this program if it's going to be what you guys want it to be under Eli Drinkwitz. So we'll appreciate. Go ahead, sorry.
And one other last quick question: are you going to be doing any of these after any like the bigger basketball games? I know it feel like a little hard to do it on a Tuesday night, after a 9 p.m. tip off. I just wonder if you're going to do this after some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, we don't plan to right now, to be honest, because we did some basketball, and frankly, we had a bunch of engagement after Illinois last year, but it was the same day as the Georgia football game, and the rest of them, it just was not really worth.
One of those.
There just weren't enough people, so
Okay.
So we're not now. If something changes, if they turn this thing around and they're having a really good season, maybe we'll change that later in the year, but not planning to right now.
Yeah, no. No. All right. Thanks,
All right.
Dave.
We'll appreciate the call, man. We're staying in the 314. Number ends in 72. You still there?
Yeah.
Yep. Who am I talking to?
You say 573?
We're in the 314 right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, I think we lost the 314. 573, hold on, man. We got 4 or 5 people on the line. I'll get to you, I promise. We're going 913 next. Who's there?
Hey, Gabe, this is Dennis. I was curious because as I was thinking back to something you wrote earlier in the season that the coaches had said this defense will be something different as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But what I didn't really understand was it was horrible. I mean, normally you see some general progression going from bad to good.
Mm-hmm.
This defense all of a sudden went from horrible to really good. And is it just as simple as the fact that they got it or didn't get? I don't know. I mean, I have a hard time understanding how it could change this much because Wilkes can't be that good and he can't be that.
Well,
what are you talking about?
I think 2 things happened. I think actually there was a progression, and that progression was in the North Texas game. They looked better. They weren't great, but they looked better. And then in the Georgia game, they looked better, but they still lost 43-6. So, I thought they got a few too many bouquets for still getting kind of dragged in Athens, right? I understand Georgia's really good, but still, they gave up 500 yards, but that was progress. And then South Carolina was the day it clicked. South Carolina, it all kind of came into focus, but South Carolina's not a real good offensive team. So today was show me that what I saw last week is what I actually think I saw. And it was, because Florida is a good offensive team. They've got dudes, and Emory Jones is a talented quarterback, and Dan Mullen's a good play caller. And so today was kind of the culmination of it. But and yes, Steve Wilkes does deserve credit. I'm not trying to take it away from him. I think 2 things happened. There were some personnel changes. Devin Nicholson isn't playing much now. Chad Bailey is. And Blaze Aldridge is back in the lineup playing well. Chris Abrams-Drain has turned into a star. On the defensive line, Isaiah McGuire's a star, and Trajan Jeffcoat has played like the player we thought he was at the beginning of the year. So it's a combination. I mean, I think it's mostly like players, but Steve Wilkes certainly deserves credit. I'm not trying to take it away from him, but he's got guys making plays that they just weren't making earlier in the year, to be quite honest. Dennis,
it's awesome to see.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
It's awesome to see, right? It's normal. Normally, you just don't see that kind of light switch change, and so
not in the middle of a season.
Waiting all year and
yeah. All right, Dennis, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a ton for being a part of the show. Totally agree with you. Good points. We're going to move on now to the 417 area code ending in 06. You there?
Yeah, hey, it's Tucker down here in Joplin.
What's up, Tucker? How are you, man?
I'm good, thanks. Hey, so I don't know if you've already covered this, then I apologize, but I want to give my thoughts and then get your thoughts on the way Drink managed the game at the end of regulation. Mm-hmm. I was watching the game at home, and there were a lot of people on Power Mizzou. I know it's a shocker that didn't like it, and on Twitter. I actually had zero problem once they got the gift of the stupid penalty,
right.
The holding or the PI on the Florida D-back on Beatty. They were essentially in Mevis' field goal range. He's made a bunch of field goals, in that 46 to 48-yard range. And the run plays were kind of weird looking, but they kept the ball on the ground, took off as much time as they could, and that was a very makeable field goal for Mevis.
Yes.
And I understand people say we got to try to get them closer and stuff. I mean, I think they were. It's just Florida's ganged up on the run there.
Yeah.
And if you throw the ball there and you turn it over, then you look like a horse's ass.
Yeah.
Because
the same.
You say, hey, look, we have the best kicker in the. Yeah.
I was going to say the same people who are mad at him for handling it that way are the ones who spent 3 quarters saying pull the quarterback. It's the same quarterback. If you didn't trust the quarterback for 3.5 quarters, you don't trust him. Eli Drinkwitz, you're right, Tucker. He did it exactly right there. He was in field goal range. He ran as much clock as he could, and he trusted the most reliable guy on his team to go do what he has done all but one time this year. It didn't happen. Now, I think it's because the snap was bad. Snap was high, and it threw it off just a little bit. Now, Mevis still makes that kick a lot of times, but I think the snap was high. But I have zero issue with what Drinkwitz did there.
Okay, yeah. Well, you and I see it the same way then. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy because I normally am all for being aggressive and everything. I loved him going for 2 in overtime, and I said it before he did it. Mm-hmm. But there's a fine line between being aggressive and being reckless. And the way Missouri's offense was playing with Bazelak, you can't take a sack and you can't turn the ball over there. You'd like for Beatty to get more rushing yards, but I mean Florida's.
Right.
Yeah.
You also can't throw an incomplete pass and save Florida 40 seconds.
Right. I mean, all that. I had zero problem with the way he did it. And however Mevis missed a kick, I mean, whatever, that happens. But, I mean, I had no problem with how Drink set that up. And that's all. I'm going to go, and I'm late for a dinner here. I'll check the rest out on the podcast tomorrow. So thanks, Gabe.
All right, Tucker. Appreciate the call, man. We're staying in the 417 area code. Number ends in 86. Who's there?
Hey, Gabe, it's Stuart in Springfield, Missouri.
What's up, Stuart? How are you, man?
Dude, I am like in my second 12-pack of unfiltered wheat from Boulevard and living large.
Excellent.
How about you?
I have not drank it all today, but I like when people that call into the show have been drinking, so we'll see how it goes.
What I tell you what Frank Sinatra said, he felt sorry for people that don't drink because when they wake up, that's the best they're going to feel all day, and that is not me. I feel better every hour of every day because of my Boulevard unfiltered wheat beer.
Dude, I'm going to have you do the reads for the show. You can just do the sponsor reads. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I've got a face for radio, so you've got the right guy.
Okay.
So I appreciate that. I'll take that. I'll take you up on that offer. And anyway, what a game, huh?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It was a battle. It was the best team performance we've seen all year against a quality opponent. Now, their record is bad. Well, it's worse than ours now. But this is the best team play we've seen all year. Offense, defense, special teams. I mean, it's sad that it took us 11 weeks to get here. But, I mean, how proud are you of our Missouri Tigers?
I mean, it was a heck of a game. They deserve a lot of credit. The first 3 quarters, but really the first 4 quarters, I wouldn't say it was like beautiful or super well played, but it was competitive. It was a close game, and the kids deserve a lot of credit for sticking in. I don't think there's any doubt about that, man, because a lot of people had quit, and they didn't.
They're bought into Drinkwitz, and bringing up Drinkwitz, how many footballs does this guy have in his sack? Going for 2, let's just get it over with. Horrible play, but you throw it to your senior. Parker Jr. picks it up, and maybe we're going bowling.
Yep.
We are going bowling.
Yep, Birmingham or Charlotte, here they come.
Hey, man, you're going, not me. I'm going to be at home with my socks on, my Boulevard unfiltered wheat beer, and living large, waiting to make a phone call at the end of the game.
All right, Stuart, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot.
Be good, Gabe. Thanks for the time.
All right, you too. Okay, I got a bunch of calls here from the 573, so I'm just going to read off the last two numbers of your phone number, and we're going to go through them. If your phone number ends in 39, are you there?
I'm here, Gabe. How are you?
Not bad. Who am I talking to?
This is Jason. So, to me, this team, I have to get my hats off to the leadership on the team, the coaches, because after that Tennessee game, they have no real business being here.
Yeah.
Or, we thought there would be no business after this. And the defense, oh my gosh, they have played wonderful. My hat's off to them. Beatty is just, Beatty kind of reminds me, and it's of like a guy that, like if Sophie Cunningham wouldn't let the Mizzou women lose times, Beatty is that player for this team. He will not let football team lose as long as he's on that field. It's just incredible. But I'm wondering, is it just me, or does Bazelak just not have the zip on his throws? Because that to me is he's obviously got the mind, but the mechanics are too many of his balls are floating up in the air. He doesn't have that zip, and that's my concern with him. But if he's the best option, I guess we're just going to have to go with it. And as long as they keep winning football games, that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to say this. I think Mizzou's got a pretty good shot of beating Arkansas next week, because I have a feeling Arkansas is going to be hung over after coming real close to beating Alabama, but still falling short.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I think Arkansas will be pretty motivated with the former players and the former coaches there and all that, and they feel pretty good about themselves, and they're a pretty good team. But we'll see about next week. The rest of it, agree with what you said. Look, Bazelak, I don't think he's healthy. I think there's some things off, but the flat-out bottom line is Drinkwitz thinks he's the best guy to win games. So whether we agree, disagree, whatever, doesn't really matter. He's the guy that's going to be out there. So, Jason, appreciate you being a part of the show, man.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right, let's move on. Staying in the 573 area code. If your number ends in 43, who's there?
Hey, Gabe, it's Justin Ferguson. How are you, man?
Not bad. What's up, Justin?
Oh, nothing too much, Gabe. I'll tell you what, man. If all home games are like that,
they're not.
Sign me up next year for season tickets, man. That was one heck of a football game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, home games are a hell of a lot more fun than going to away games. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know you said on the pregame show this was the first game for your family. So they all have a good time.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. The pregame, tailgating was great. Taking the kids to Tiger Town, it was all great. And honestly, I've been to some other away games that they just don't have. Some obviously have better pregame stuff, but I was actually impressed with it. Had a great time. And then for the game, man, there was definitely a lot of angst, in the stands, and frustration with Bazelak. I thought he made some throws, made some plays, and he missed some as well. We talk about, we don't know if he's obviously he's probably playing with some sort of injury. He's not 100% and all that kind of stuff. But
right.
Just another average performance by him. But overall, he got it done. And a lot of times we want to point out the negative. Man, let's just take the win and kind of move on to Arkansas this next week. And then one last thing, Gabe, super impressed with DJ Jackson. I thought that kid, for his first start, I thought he played really well.
Yeah, I think he's a guy we're going to be talking about going forward. No question. You noticed him a lot, man. He was a good tackler, good in coverage. He made you not miss a Caleb Evans today. So I think he deserves a ton of credit.
Yep. All right, Gabe. We're gonna head off. We're gonna get some food. I'll talk to you guys all next week. Y'all
all right.
Good one.
Thanks, Justin. Enjoy it, man. Let's stay in the 573. If your number ends in 54, are you there?
Hey, Gabe. It's Tim. What's going on?
What's up, Tim? How are you, man?
Hey, good. I talked to you last week, and I gave you a little bit of a hard time for moving out the Bays rag. I talked about development and the team moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Play call, the coaches, the whole team concept. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to that conversation. It's like season development I see now. It's not just game development, but, season development. Hey, we're in the SEC. Let's not be like Virginia Tech, firing our coach in the middle of the year when we're not even going to be going to, I don't know, a bowl game. We're an SEC team. We're going to a bowl. We're beating some pretty solid, bottom of the league teams. But hey, it's the SEC. I think the way the season develops now, 2021 in this league, you have to be playing for like a 12-game horizon. And I think Mizzou's done that this year. I think they did it last year in a 10-game season. I'm pretty positive about things moving forward. And, this Arkansas game, man, what an eclipse that would be if we would win that game, which, we're the only game basically on Friday in that time slot. People are going to be looking at us. It's an opportunity for us. So I just got to tell everybody, hey, this is who we are. This is how we play football. This is kind of the season that develops for a team like Mizzou right now in 2021. And hey, let's look up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they have saved it, and I think next week would be the difference between just kind of saving it and actually feeling really good about it. Because now I think you feel okay about it now because you've gone to a bowl game, you've turned it around. But if you could win next week, that kind of levels it up. Going into the offseason. So we'll see. We'll see on Friday. Weird things happen in this game. I'm not going to say Missouri can't win it.
Yeah, but we will see. And that's a good thing to hope for in the SEC is we will see.
Yep. There you go, Tim. I appreciate the call, man.
Great job, Gabe.
All right. Thanks a lot. Okay, another one in the 573. Number ends in 46. You still there? Okay, we may have lost that one. 573 area code. Number ends in 46. Going once? Going twice? No dice. Last one from the 573. Number ends in 75. You with me? 573, you there? No dice. Okay, we're going to the 973 area code, or 913. 913, you with me?
Hey, Gabe, what's up?
What's going on? Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Matt in Phoenix. How's it going?
Not bad, Matt. What's going on?
Hey, sorry, tuned in a little bit late, so you might have covered this already, but the dude brought a lightsaber to the press conference.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, if he can get this thing rolling in the next couple of years, imagine the things he's going to say in 2024, 2025. Anyway, good win today. Go Tigers. Let somebody else call in.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thanks a lot, Matt. Let's go to the 832 area code. Who do we have? 832. You with me? All right. They gave up. 206. You on the line?
I'm here, Gabriel.
Who am I talking to?
This is P-Duff.
What's up, P-Duff? How are you, man?
Nice. I'm doing great, and I just want to say I'm drinking a nice Boulevard Tank 7 out here in beautiful Seattle, Washington. I'd put any Boulevard product up against any of the ales and IPAs out here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I had some good ones up there on my trip, but I agree, man. Tank 7 and Boulevard are the top-notch stuff.
There's nothing better than enjoying a nice Boulevard, one of their products, and perusing PowerMizzou.com. I wanted to say a few weeks ago, I like to think of myself as a very optimistic fan and glasses half full fan. And I wanted to post on PowerMizzou.com, the best place to get your Tiger info and talk.
Agreed.
That I thought that I didn't get it. I just didn't get why our defense was so bad. It was like I didn't know there were guys missing tackles, right there, and I just couldn't. It was inexplicable how bad we were.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought, gosh, we are absolutely the worst defense in the country. We could just get to bad. I think we could turn the season around. So I almost posted that we'd go 6-6 or 7-5, and I wasn't optimistic necessarily after the Vanderbilt game, but after the first half of Georgia, I was like, I think a light went on. And so I'm really happy to see that our defense has continued to improve, and really, really happy the way things are turning out. And I just want to ask, listen up here. So where does this put us bowl-wise? Oh, and to the earlier caller, Tucker from Joplin, he said, this was actually my point. He said, I think that we might have a shot against Arkansas because they might be hungover. And what I really wanted to say in this call was, man, Florida came to play today.
Yep.
That was a really tough. They were a max effort, I feel, today, and obviously they have a lot more talent than us. So it was actually and we were playing with about 75% of a quarterback. So what a gritty win for our guys. But if the talk leading up to the game is what Florida team would show up, and I got to be honest, I thought they looked ready to go. So
yeah,
hat tip to them. Goodbye, Darth Vader. It was that concludes the Dan Mullen era at Florida, I believe.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to get your one thought as I hang up. What bowl will we be looking at? If I say we don't win or if we win.
Right. So if you win the Arkansas,
happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Pete Duff. Appreciate it, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, same to you. Appreciate the call. So bowl games, I don't have them all right in front of me, but it's dependent on a number of things. First of all, it's dependent on how many SEC teams get in the playoff. So Missouri will get a better bowl game if Alabama beats Georgia and both those teams make the playoff. Because if Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC title game, Alabama's not going to the playoff, which means Alabama's going to slide down to probably to the Sugar Bowl, and then the Orange Bowl is going to take the third SEC team, whether that's, I think it will probably be Ole Miss. The other thing is how many SEC teams get into these New Year's Six games. And so if Alabama gets in the playoff, then Ole Miss goes to the Sugar Bowl, and Texas A&M or somebody like that is in line possibly for the Orange Bowl. And then you've got a group of 6 after that. So if 4 teams have gone playoff or New Year's Six, then Missouri's got a good shot at that group of 6, which includes like the Texas Bowl, the Music City. If that's not the case, if Florida gets bowl eligible, they could slide down to like the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. But my guess would be Music City, Texas Bowl, probably one of those two is what I would lean to, assuming you don't beat Arkansas. If you beat Arkansas, you can rise up there a little bit. And, all right, let's go now to the 314 area code. Who am I talking to there?
Hey, it's Steven from St. Louis.
What's up, Steven?
Yeah, I was just curious. I don't have too much to say. I thought our defense, they keep continuing to improve.
Mm-hmm.
I know Florida has issues, but that team has so much talent, probably a lot of 4-star players on that team. So I think it's a great win. Bazelak didn't hurt us. That last play, kudos to him. I'm curious what you think about this win as what it could do possibly for recruiting.
I don't think this one win in itself does that much. I mean, it's better than the alternative, certainly, right? But I think overall what it does is send a message that, hey, we're still going in the right direction. He's managed to put together 2 back-to-back top 20 recruiting classes with a 500 record, which is pretty impressive. And this tells kids, hey, stick with us. If you had some doubts, don't have doubts. Look, we're still going in the right direction. And so if they can finish strong, if they can hit the portal, then a lot of some of that talent starts to show up on campus next year. Some of it's got a little bit more experience, and I think you have to feel pretty good about the direction things are going.
Yeah, and you said it earlier in the season. You've seen McGuire and what's his name, Jeff Coat play better, and then obviously we had so many struggles, and then out of nowhere these past 3 weeks, Jeff Coat and McGuire just have absolutely exploded. So
yeah, part of this season was based on this is the player we thought Trajan Jeffcoat was going to be all season, and he hasn't been, and now all of a sudden in the last 2-3 weeks he has been.
All right, thanks, Gabe.
Steven, appreciate the call, man. Let's go next to the 602 area code. Who's with me?
Hey, Gabe, this is Mike. How's it going?
Not bad. What's up, Mike?
Hey, I just wanted to talk about, kind of touch on what you guys were talking about, but with the defense, just after early games this season, Tennessee specifically, and in other games that we looked at the defense and just said, this is just horrific. That really the defense is the reason we won this game. It wouldn't have been a game if the defense didn't get stops in key moments, and how much that will help, as you were kind of just talking about, next season, building momentum. And this is kind of the first real win that you can kind of put on your back and say, hey, we beat a big opponent. Florida's a good team, even though their season's not going great. They have better players than we do. They recruit better than we do, and we beat them. So this is just I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that, and point out to the fans that were talking on whatever, Power Mizzou Twitter. I know you shouldn't listen to them during the game, but everyone who was talking during the game, that's just kind of my thoughts. This is a huge win for Mizzou, and it's a building block for the future. If Eli Drinkwitz works out, we'll look back at this game and say that this was kind of the start of it.
I think this is definitely a building block. I mean, LSU last year I think is a similar win. And look, that LSU team last year obviously didn't end up being good, but who cares? It's still LSU. They were the defending national champions. It still counted. And this Florida team, it's not the best Florida team I've ever seen, but I thought that was a Florida team that tried tonight. I thought they seemed interested in the game, and Missouri beat them. And, yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that you build on, and maybe in a couple years you look back and say, hey, we got some people to buy in that day that maybe weren't bought in before. And that counts, no doubt. So 573 area code, who's there?
Gabe, it's Big Mike from Moberly, man. I got to tell you, that was one of the more exciting football games I think I've seen at Memorial Stadium in a really long time. In a way, it was more exciting than the LSU game. But I'm really just calling to say, is there a bigger redemption tour in the last 3 or 4 weeks in all of college football than Steve Wilkes?
Oh, all of college football. I thought we were going to get to talk about Mahomes here. No, there's not. I mean, it's been super impressive. And nobody wants Steve Wilkes to lose his job now, right? He's coming back, man, for $1.2 million, and he should. He's done a good job, no question. But yeah, he's solid, man. He's done his job.
The other cool part that I thought about today was that, so last year on Halloween, obviously we all saw Dan Mullen's theatrics and all that, and there's not really a more unlikable guy in all of college football, in my opinion. So to see maybe what's the final nail in the coffin for him as Coach Drink does the press conference, that was awesome. That was one of the coolest things I think I've seen in college football this year. And really, for me, the coolest part was the energy in the stadium. And I think what people don't understand is, without students there, it's hard to have that type of energy. But I thought the alumni was really bought into Coach Drink. And I think a lot of that comes from that hatred of Florida and all of that. It was awesome to see in the stadium today. It was really fun.
So in my job, I love the lightsaber thing. I think it's great. But, dude, you got a target on your back now. Like, you just did that as the head coach of a 6-5 football team, and it's going to come back to you. It may not come back to you from Dan Mullen, but, like, it's coming from somewhere, right? And that's okay. Like, he invites that. That's cool. I don't think he cares at all, but yeah, he makes headlines, and that's great for Missouri, but also, like, there are days that there's going to be some revenge for that.
Agree, but I think that's the swagger that Mizzou has needed in a long time, and he brings it. It's great to see. But, Gabe, I love the show, man. Second-time caller. I called last week, told you I was going to go get a thicker kicker burger, and that's where I'm headed, man. So thanks for hosting this. This is awesome every week. I love it. MIZ.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Big Mike, and everybody who's called in. And, hey, we actually have the phone lines clear for a minute. First time in over an hour. And if you want to call in, please do call in, and I'll get to them. Kind of take a moment to catch my breath and say a couple things. First of all, appreciate we've already had 2 callers calling in saying they listen to this show while drinking their Boulevard products. We hope you all are. We hope the rest of you are doing the same thing and just haven't told us about it. But if you are, when you call in, let me know, man. What are you drinking? Is it the Tank 7? Is it the wheat? Like somebody was on their second 12-pack of wheat, I think. Maybe you go, I always like the Space Camper. Hey, it's getting into, the winter, so maybe you're going with like the Bourbon Barrel Quad, or maybe you're going, maybe you like the Calling. I don't know. They got a lot of good stuff. Maybe you like the Quirk Seltzers or the Fling cocktails. But if you're drinking Boulevard while listening to or watching this show, we appreciate it. Let me know about it when you call in. Also, want to say something Big Mike was talking about and said that was the most exciting win in Memorial Stadium in a while. And it kind of brought me back to earlier in the show when the guy called in and said, Missouri just doesn't win games like this. This doesn't happen. So you know what? This is the 3rd time in 14 months that Missouri's won a football game on the last play of the game. 3rd time in 14 months. Goal line stand against LSU. Field goal by Harrison Mevis against Arkansas. 2-point conversion tonight against Florida. So that is 3 of their last, what they have, I'm going to go 3 of their last 10 home games they've won on the last play of the game. 3 of the last 11 maybe. Like, it's time to bury this nothing good ever happens to Missouri. Because it's flat out not true. Tons of good things have happened in the last year to Missouri. Let's go back to the 573 area code. Who's with me?
This is Davin.
What's up, Davin? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm hanging in. What's on your mind?
Good. I was just going to say that you talked about having a target on your back or whatever for Drinkwitz doing that, but I'd sure a lot rather have Drinkwitz doing that after a win than Barry Odom burning whatever he did in the trash can after the Kentucky game.
Oh, so, I agree. Like, I think it's great. My point is Drinkwitz is the guy that if he coaches your team, you love him. And if he coaches the other team, you kind of go, man, I hate that dude. I hope we score 80 on him. Right?
Well, that brings good football.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have somebody that thinks that they're pretty good, and I don't know. I like it, but I get what you're saying.
No, I like it too, especially in what I do. Like, I'd much rather have a guy do that than a guy get up there and be like, yeah, we just want to get better every day. I'm proud of how hard the guys fight. Like, give me something that I don't know is coming. I think it's great for my job, but I think it is undeniable if that had been Dan Mullen that did that, if 3 weeks ago, Josh Heupel did that, Missouri fans want to kill him, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But Florida fans, they had this coming because of last year. So I can't see them getting on us, and you're right. Maybe it's not going to come from him, but yeah, I think it was. I liked it.
Well, retribution definitely ain't going to come from Dan Mullen. I don't know if he'll make it back to Gainesville. And the truth is, I think Florida fans are probably happy today because they want the dude fired. So they might actually be converted to Drinkwitz fans now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. You think he's gone after this, or they wait till after the maybe next week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pretend I have any inside information on Florida, but I talked to our Florida guy on our pregame show. I talked to him actually on Thursday, and he said he thought if Florida loses either of these last 2 games, Mullen loses his job. So whether it
Yeah.
happens tomorrow or after the season, the feeling down there is this was the nail in the coffin.
Right. Yep. All right, man. Thank you.
All right, Davin, good to talk to you, man. Thanks a lot for calling. Let's go to the 404 area code next. Who's there from the 404?
Hey, all right, man. It's your man, Alan, man. Thank you again for taking the call.
Yeah, what's up, Alan? How are you?
All right. Well, I feel, one, congratulations. That is, in the last 2 years that I've been following Mizzou, that defense, just congratulations. I could go on and on. And that I heard the calls about it's the same scheme, the players. Sometimes motivation, how you talk to the players, I don't really know, but whoever gave them a kick in the hiney is working out. So I'm happy about that. I'm concerned for the future about Drink's decisions with personnel, and specifically there at the end with the going for 2. I got frustrated going for 2. I wouldn't have done it, but then when you get it, everyone's happy, right?
Yeah.
But even in that, Bazelak, the play that he chose to do, and let's just be honest, Bazelak has been up and down 50-50. They were booing him all night. And the play that you call pushed the ball in his hands, not the number 1 rusher, Beatty, not, someone else, but you go to Bazelak off his back foot.
Yep.
And when that works, it makes me nervous that you think that was a good call. And that means that we might see that again and then actually be upset when it doesn't work again.
Yeah.
So
I get what you're saying, Alan. Like I actually said earlier in the show, I give him credit for not doing the easy thing, which was, I'd have kicked the extra point. That's the easy thing. And then I give him credit once he decided not to go for 2, to once again not do the easy thing, because the easy thing is to hand the ball to Tyler Beatty, and if it doesn't work, say, hey, we died with our best player, right? So he deserves a lot of credit, and that's exactly your call is the reason that he makes $4 million, because the good calls, frankly, I mean, like, I know it's not this simple, but it worked, so it was a good call, right? Now, next time, he probably won't make that same play next time, because if you do that, then what it makes the next team that's in that situation, that Missouri lines up for 2, looks and goes, well, we think Tyler Beatty's getting the ball. But last time they went for 2, they thought Tyler Beatty was getting the ball, and he didn't, so their tight end was wide open, so we got to think about that. And so maybe next time you hand the ball to Tyler Beatty because there's one fewer guy in the box, and it works. I get your point that it's too simple to say, hey, it works, so it's a good play call. But in the end, he's judged on wins and losses, and he's judged on did the play work or did the play not work, and everything he did there worked, and he gets credit for it. And now, it's kind of stupid, but if it didn't work, would we be ripping him for going for 2? Yeah, we probably would. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but that's probably how it is.
Well, and what you just said was absolutely right. The reason I'm concerned is, though, a win covers up a lot of flaws, and it's hard to build off of that. Because when it starts going wrong, then people act like they're shocked that they didn't see it a while ago. I pray for Mizzou's sake that he opens the opportunity to competition at the quarterback position. I'm not a believer that Bazelak will be the guy for that going forward. I'm upset that he was out there tonight, but I understand as a coach, you're going to finish it out with your quarterback. You did it all year, and then maybe you'll open the competition up in spring ball for next year. I get both sides of it, but I'm going to let you go. But I hope that for the defenses and the other 2 guys that are behind Bazelak, it kind of you lose your locker room like that, because if someone can go out there and perform like that, and you still don't even allow other players to play to show you what they're capable of. You got other players in other positions that you're trying to build depth. It's not only about recruiting, but it's about retaining players, right? So you may have good players on your roster, but if you got 2 quarterbacks behind Bazelak and he's paying like that and you won't give them a shot, they're going to hit the portal. Then what if Bazelak gets hurt and take that same approach to other players? So that's what I want to say, and MIZ.
Yeah, Alan, I appreciate it, man. And I want to be clear, like, I don't want to dismiss what Alan's saying because I think he makes some good points in there, right? Like, our analysis needs to be less surface level and go into a little bit more. But on the losing the locker room thing, look, man, that team that was celebrating in the end zone didn't look like anybody wasn't bought in. It really didn't to me. I thought that looked like a team that fought today. When Bazelak didn't play great. Everything's not perfect with this team. They still don't have the most talent in the world and all that. But that didn't look like a team that had quit on his coach to me. Not at all. But he does make good points. Look, I said I wouldn't have gone for it, but this is why it goes back to the caller earlier that was talking about play calling and why I said I tend to try to stay away from play calling because it's just too easy to say, well, these plays sucked because they didn't work, and those plays were good because they did. That's too simple, and I don't have enough knowledge to say everything, right? As far as the quarterback, I understand. Everybody's going to look and say, hey, he didn't play good. He was hurting us. We should have gone to the other guy. But you won the game. And the same people who have been telling me, hey, the reason he's not a good quarterback is because we're not winning, well, he won. So you can't argue both sides of it, right? And I think, yeah, he is the guy for the rest of the season. I don't think there's any doubt about it, right? And spring football, that may be different. And I think today probably did tell Brady Cook, hey, man, there's no real path to playing time here for you. Now, Brady's a great dude. Seems like a really good teammate. I don't think he's going to cause any problems. But into the season, hey, it's not hard to see him looking, right? But I do want to be clear. I don't want to dismiss anything Alan said because I do think he brought up some good points. But that is a team, to me, that was bought in. And that was a coach that, look, it's the internet. I can say whatever I want, right? He put his balls on the table. He did. He took a risk. And in the end, those risks paid off. I mean, I think he took a risk by playing Connor Bazelak, right? Because if he plays Brady Cook tonight, he kind of has an excuse. Hey, only the kid's first start, right? Gave it a shot. Didn't work. But he took a lot of risks tonight, and enough of them paid off that he came out a winner, and that's all that really counts. At the end of the day, when you're deciding whether to fire Eli Drinkwitz or extend him or whatever, you're looking at the record. You're not looking at who'd you play at quarterback on November 20th against Florida. Let's go to the 314 area code. Who's there?
Hey, Gabe, John. Good show.
What's up, John? Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Good win for the Tigers today. But I agree with a lot of what you say. This is definitely a flawed team.
Oh, yeah.
This is a third or fourth or fifth place team in the SEC East because the quarterback to get us above that is not on campus, just like you stated. And I don't know if it's going to be Horn or not. We have to give Eli a little time. He's not a true, head coach. He doesn't have the 10 years experience that Pico had coming in. But, after year 4, like you said, maybe year 5 at the most, if they're not number 2 or 3 consistently, then you got to look elsewhere. And I think from the standpoint of his knowledge, I'm not saying he doesn't know the offense, but I think some of his decisions are very questionable. And maybe that just comes with more time. I'm not sure, but I don't think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think they'll be 6-6, and like you said, get a low-tier bowl and hopefully get some more practices, and next year will be better. But,
yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? I mean the goal is clearly 7-5, and I'm not going to say it's impossible that they beat Arkansas. They could beat Arkansas, but probably not, right? I agree with you. One thing I would push back a little bit on you say the quarterback to lead you to better than third or fourth isn't on campus. You might be right. However, also, like we got to remember, Missouri's 2 games better if the defense is playing like this in the first 6 weeks of the season, right? They beat Kentucky and BC with this defense. I don't think there's any question. Yeah. So it's not my problem with the quarterback position is it just becomes all about him, and I don't think that's fair. One guy doesn't win or lose football games. I mean, he has a lot to do with it. It's the most important position on the field, but you might be right that the quarterback to take them to better than, 4th place in the East isn't on campus. But what if he had a better team around him? So I don't think it's something we can judge just in a vacuum.
But also, Gabe, you have to realize who's going to replace Tyler Beatty? Who's going to replace those yards?
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree. Next year.
Imagine our same quarterback without Tyler Beatty. What is our offense without Tyler Bailey?
It hurts, no question. But also, what is your offense with E.J. Ndoma Ogar with a couple years in college playing offensive guard, with Connor Tollison maybe playing center next year, with Dominic Lovett and Mookie Cooper, who I don't think played today, with a year of experience, with Luther Burden on campus, with Messiah Swinson a year older, with, there's just so much unknown that with the defense theoretically better, losing Beatty is crushing, don't get me wrong, but other guys, they're still going to play other guys, and at the beginning of this year, everybody said, well, I don't know if Tyler Beatty can be an every down back, and now the thing is, well, how do we ever replace Tyler Beatty? So I don't know. Maybe there's another Tyler Beatty on the roster. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying we can't say there isn't.
Yeah, and I don't. And to this day, I don't believe anybody is 100% sold yet on Eli as a coach, not as a recruiter, as a guy who could win you football games and knows the X's and the O's and could run an organization.
No, that's fair. I don't think anybody should be 100% sold on him yet. He hasn't proven that yet. He's never coached a roster that's mostly his. So yeah, he's got to bring in guys. He's got to build this thing, and in 2023, if we're talking about a 500 record after 4 years, I'm going to have a lot of doubts. Now, I'm not saying you fire him for that, but I think I'll probably kind of be like, I don't know that this is necessarily the guy. But if he's 7-5 next year and 9-3 in 2 years, then that's your guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But only time will tell. But if you're a 3rd or 4th or 5th place team, no matter what, year in and year out, then you got to look above and beyond what we got here.
At some point, but we're a long way away from that decision.
I agree, Gabe. Yep. Appreciate the show. Keep up the good work.
All right, John. Thanks for the call, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Appreciate all you guys. I'd like to actually take a minute to compliment you guys. First of all, there's been almost no interruptions. We've had a couple bad connections, but everybody's pretty much handled the etiquette of the phone pretty well, and everybody's managed to wait their turn, and we haven't had the cat facts haven't called in. We haven't had any curse words. I'm jinxing it here, but you've done well this show. Credit to you. So, I'm not yet sure. I'm going to stretch this for about 5 more minutes and if you want to call and you want to go longer, feel free. Call in if you want to. Phone line's clear. It's 573-234-4935 if you want to call in. But there's 2 things that I'm kind of thinking out of this more than anything else. And that is, one, that this is a team that has salvaged the season. Now, it's not a great season, but it's salvaged it, right? You've gotten what you could out of this season, and they got a little bit of their swag back, for lack of a better term, right? It's weird how much this season has paralleled the Kansas City Chiefs season, to use that phrase. Let's go to the phone line, 904 area code. What's up?
Hey, just listen to your show, trying to get as much as I can about tonight's game. I am a Mizzou fan. Been a fan for my entire life. I live here in Jacksonville, Florida, which is in the middle of Gator country.
Okay, what's your name, man? Who am I talking to?
Mike.
Okay, Mike, go ahead. Sorry.
So I've lived here for 20 years. I listen to, obviously, the local, sports radios also, because I'm, in addition to being a Mizzou fan, I'm a Jaguar fan. So I have the good with the bad. I've just grown really tired of hearing all the disrespect that the talkers here and also the Florida program in general has for Mizzou football. So tonight and today's victory gave me great pleasure to see them once again lose to us when I hear them talk about how much of, that we don't belong in the SEC and don't belong in the same football field.
The SEC likes to do that. Do you know, Mike, what the all-time series record between Missouri and Florida is now?
Oh, yeah, I sure do.
Okay.
In fact, I'm banned from their talk radio calling in because I made that point to them several times. So, yeah, I'm very aware.
Okay.
So they know me as Mizzou Mike, and I'm no longer allowed to call into their show.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I get a doubleheader this weekend. Mizzou basketball is going to be in town tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to that game, watching. Hopefully, we beat SMU.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to give you a call out, and thanks for taking my call.
All right, Mike, I appreciate it, man. You're down there. Let me ask you if you're still there. Or I bet Gator fans are actually happy Missouri won this game because now they get to fire Dan Mullen.
Well, the reality, 4 weeks ago, they were talking about how much Dan Mullen was an elite coach.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's not elite, but he's a really good coach, and I believe in him. In 4 weeks' time, it's amazing how fast that turned. And, yeah, some of the talkers that have so much disrespect for Mizzou who were actually begging. 2 weeks ago, they were saying, don't fire Mullen after the Mizzou game because that's a bad look.
Right.
Well, it's a bad look to them because it was Mizzou that caused it. So we'll see how this plays out. My guess is they'll keep Mullen through the end of the season and then can.
Gotcha. Well, Mike, I appreciate the call, man, down there from enemy territory. Enjoy the basketball games the next couple days.
All right.
All right. Have a good one. Okay, I was talking about before Mike called in, and again, phone calls always take precedence. So if you call in, I'm in the middle of a thought. I'll grab your call. It's fine. What I have to say is not that important. But I think this is a team that, maybe got a little bit of its swagger back, and its head coach walked into the press conference and pulled out a lightsaber, and like that's a thing, right? The other thing is, and maybe these are connected somehow, but like this whole idea that good things don't happen to Mizzou, again, that's 3 times in 14 months they've won a home football game on the last play of the game. Like, it's time to quit saying that Missouri doesn't win these games. It's time to quit saying that we're not doing this, that Missouri can't do this. It's not true. Like, this whole Missouri has bad luck, and it ties into this is probably what I'm going to write about now because the caller reminded me it's the north end zone, right? And I don't know. I feel like maybe something good's happened in the north end zone at some point previously. Missouri was going that direction when Mevis made the field goal last year against Arkansas, I believe. The LSU play was in the south end zone. But point is, like, this whole idea of we can't have nice things. No, you've actually, every game that could have gone either way pretty much. Not every one because you lost BC. But other than that, like, I don't really consider Kentucky a game that could have gone either way. You kind of got your butt beat and managed to stay close. But Kentucky was better. But other than that, most of the games that could have gone either way have gone Missouri's way. And so maybe this really is a program that's turning over a new leaf because there's been a lot of years where that wasn't true. But it's been pretty true of late, and I think it's a change you guys all certainly welcome. Quick question, which has improved more this season, the defense or caller etiquette? I'm going to go defense. Some of you guys are still calling drunk, so it's not perfect. I've still heard some stray comments here and there. Not perfect, but Missouri's defense, Steve Wilkes deserves more credit than you guys. Let's just leave it at that. So before we shut this thing down and I go write a column, and Mitchell Forty's got some stuff up already on the site, so make sure you're reading his stuff over there. Before we shut this down, 2 things. First of all, somebody asked me earlier, and I can't find it in the comments anymore, if I'm still expecting good recruiting news. I don't know if that's going to be today. I'm expecting good recruiting news to come out sometime, but it's getting late in the day, so I'm not sure. But the other thing that I want to kind of lay out is this week is going to be a little bit different because it's obviously Thanksgiving on Thursday and they play on Friday. So here's what we're going to do. So tomorrow night, obviously, Missouri plays basketball. We'll have coverage of that game remotely. We're not going to Jacksonville, but we'll cover that game. On Monday, they are doing Eli Drinkwitz's Media Day, and Mitch and I are doing a show, and they play basketball that night. Then on Tuesday, Sean and I will have the recruiting show, and they'll do the second Media Day. Mitch will cover that. Wednesday, we'll do the 573 report like usual. We'll have a mailbag like usual. I'm pre-recording an opponent show for you guys on Thursday, so we'll have that up on Thursday. And then Friday, we will do normal game day stuff. Mitch will cover the game. I'll do pregame, postgame, all that. So everything's just kind of pushed up a day this week, but we will be covering football and basketball for you all week. Everybody, I feel like, should be pretty happy tonight, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do what P-Duff did. I want you to grab a Tank 7. I want you to do what Stuart and Springfield did. Grab a 12-pack of Boulevard wheat. Maybe you like the cocktails, right? Like go get a Fling cocktail, a gin and tonic, or the Cork seltzers if that's your thing. I'm not a seltzer guy, but I know a lot of people are. Whatever it is, go grab a Boulevard product. Celebrate the fact Missouri won a game. Celebrate the fact they beat Florida. They're headed to a bowl game. Eli Drinkwitz pulled out a lightsaber in a damn press conference. Like, you guys should all be happy. So everything's good. I want you to hit the like button before you leave here. I want you to subscribe to the channel. We've got one more week of live streaming. We've made it through 12 of the 13 weeks this season. We got one more week to do it. We'll continue some of the shows after the football season is over, but we're not going to be every single day after this coming week. So appreciate you guys who have been here all night long. Great show. Had a lot of calls, a lot of activity. Appreciate those of you who have been here all day, all season. So thanks for being a part of it. The Boulevard Brewing Company post-game drink here. I'm going to turn this into a podcast. I'm going to go write a column. Mitchell Forty has you covered on Power Mizzou. Once again, Mizzou a 24-23 winner. They're 6-5. Arkansas Friday. Bowl game sometime. Talk to you guys later.